Hey guys, I'm gonna be reviewing all the VODs of LCS from last weekend. That's 10 VODs. Let's go. So first up, we have 100 Thieves versus Optic Gaming. Both teams actually in the gutter, pretty much. 100 Thieves 3 and 5, Optic Gaming 2 and 6, as you can see. 100 Thieves and Optic, even though they're in similar positions, how they got there is really different, and the expectations for both teams were really different. 100 Thieves went out and spent a lot to make sure they can get a great player in Bang, and they've actually been struggling a lot. On the other hand, for Optic Gaming, they went with, I would say, more of a budget route. None of the players they got were particularly expensive or wanted by other teams, but they did pick up wins on the back of Dardoch, their academy jungler. So far, this main roster hasn't been able to pick up a single win. Without further ado, let's start with the draft.
They had a change up in the roster.
Oops. So let's double speed it. We're playing on 9.3. I think one thing that a lot of people disagree with me is the Cassiopeia priority. I still think Cassiopeia should be highly prioritized, shouldn't be insanely highly prioritized, but still highly prioritized. Lucian, Cassio, Yasuo ban, pretty normal. And then, yeah. Usually it's Lucian, Cassio, Urgot ban, and 100 Thieves doesn't get to pick Urgot, but they banned Yasuo instead, and they got to pick Urgot. One thing that's interesting about Urgot, though, I think Urgot is one of the single most powerful champions, along with Lucian and Cassio this patch, but he becomes much, much more powerful if you ban Sion. So what I would have liked from 100 Thieves is if they left Urgot open, changing their last ban to Sion is something I think that would have been really smart. Now, Optic can just pick Sion versus the Urgot, and it makes the Urgot pick a lot less valuable than if you had banned the Sion. But let's go. Let's see what they do. Just hovering Nico. Okay, Graves. Ooh, Nocturne instead. Nocturne also a pretty highly prioritized champion at the moment. Ooh, Aatrox Nocturne. Aatrox can still go mid or top, but I think it's most likely going to go top. So 100 Thieves actually getting away with not having to play versus Sion. It's really nice. And Israel, Braum, those are pretty standard picks. Israel especially when you're versus a Nocturne, and Lucian's gone. He's one of the best AD carries right now, and Braum pairs very nicely with Israel. Tahm Kench, if Optic locks in Tahm Kench, it makes their draft into a complete 1-3-1 draft. Nocturne and Kench are both extremely strong at 1-3-1 situations, so yeah, it becomes a 1-3-1 draft. And also, Kench is notoriously bad in team fights when you don't have a hyper carry or a stronger backline, and it's really hard to have a stronger backline because people will just focus down to Kench and Kench will blow up. Optic banning out Sylas, 100 Thieves banning out Kai'Sa. I would love to see 100 Thieves ban out Sivir after they banned out the Kai'Sa, because I mean, Sivir and Kai'Sa are the best champions into Israel. And it really doesn't make sense to ban one and open the other. Please make sure you ban Sivir, probably. Please ban Sivir. Oh my god. Yeah, I really dislike bans like this, where there's two great options in Sivir and Kai'Sa versus Israel. Okay, they might even just go Draven. But there's two great options in Sivir and Kai'Sa, and you end up banning just the one and leaving open the other. It's like wasting a ban, because they both function almost the same way, and you're letting them have. When a champion has two good counter picks, it doesn't matter if you ban one of the good counter picks, they'll just draft the other good counter picks. Either ban both or don't ban them at all. The Zilean ban's really odd. Where would Zilean even go? Support mid? Mid Zilean? So you want to blind Lissandra, that's why you banned the Zilean? I mean, Syndra's still up. Crown is really good at Syndra. Okay, he just picked Rise instead. But he could have picked Syndra into Lissandra, and if that's what you were afraid of, taking Lissandra blind because of the Zilean, like there's also a Syndra up. So you could have either banned Zilean Syndra or Kai'Sa Sivir. I think just one ban towards this and one ban towards the other was really foolish. Well, 100 Thieves have a teamfight comp, and Optic have a 1-3-1 comp. Optic has so many ways to play first side lanes. They have a Tahm Kench, they have a Nocturne, they have a Rise with teleport, they have a Aatrox with teleport. Sivir is going to be great at covering mid. I think it's going to be a very... both teams have very separate win conditions, so neither team really gets outscaled. People talk about getting outscaled all the time, but outscaling doesn't matter when your win conditions are different from one another. And this game, their win conditions are very different from one another. Sivir Kench mid lane. I think Olaf has like 0-8 or 0-7 in an NALCS. He might have picked up a win this weekend, but problems with Olaf is a very, very good champion early game. Olaf is one of the strongest champions early game, but NA hasn't been the best about playing with priority and playing with early game leads. So while Olaf is a great champion in other regions, and I'm pretty sure has a better win record in other regions, in NA, Olaf will usually get an early game lead and do nothing with it. Saw some Bang in NA. I actually think Bang is a good player still. I have no doubts about that. I think the biggest problem with Bang in NA is on 100 Thieves, there's a lot of great players and a lot of players with strong opinions and ideas on how the game should be played. Bang, Afro, Someday, even Huhi to a certain degree, I'm sure they all have ideas on how the game should be played. But they just play so segregated and they just play so independent of one another. Ooh, nice gank coming in, burning flash. They might even be able to get the kill. Yep, great kill. A kill on Someday on a Urgot Aatrox matchup is going to snowball the matchup so much. But going back a little to Bang and 100 Thieves, holy shit, Meteos just missed him. Going back on, and Onda did like a great job of looping around the ward here. If you guys can see, there's a ward right here, right? And Onda did a great job of looping around and not getting seen by the ward. But yeah, like that's my problem with 100 Thieves. They're not coordinated and they don't play together as a team, and a lot of their decisions are very independent of one another. Do I think Huhi and Afro are underperforming on 100 Thieves? I mean, yeah, they've definitely had individual mistakes, but I think, sure, let's say Huhi and Afro fixed their problems and they were playing on form. 100 Thieves probably would have picked up another win or two, and they probably would have been 4-4 or 5-3, but it doesn't change that much in the big picture of things. Actually, they might not have even picked up additional wins because a lot of their losses are coming from mid and late game decision making. So even if Huhi and Afro are playing a little better, just their decision making is bad. Here's the thing about decision making in League. Also, going back a little into the game, Meteos really wants to look for a gank. As a level 6 Nocturne, one of your biggest priority is getting your ult off. Yeah, getting a really good first ult off is one of your biggest prios. And 100 Thieves actually getting a lead on Optic in the early game. That's pretty big. This is an insane fact, and I do think it might have changed with this weekend, but Optic Gaming had the best early game out of everyone in LCS. In terms of goal differential at 15 minutes, in terms of dragons, in terms of turrets, Optic Gaming had the best early game. So whenever teams are beating Optic, I'm like, damn. In the early game, at least, I'm like, damn, this is actually something that shouldn't be happening. Optic beats a lot of teams from... Optic schools a lot of teams early game. I think it comes from great jungle pathing and good laning from Crown. Even though Crown's the one getting ganked here, and Meteos allowed the gank top to happen, and he didn't get a good gank off. I guess he didn't really allow the gank top to happen. He just was watching. It's just... Yeah, like... Meteos is so focused on getting this dragon. I think he should be looking for a kill somewhere. But maybe that kill isn't possible, that's why. He probably can't go on the Lissandra mid. Yep, can't go on the Lissandra mid. Hard to go on the Urgot top, but Urgot top is probably the most vulnerable, and definitely Israel Braum bot lane is impossible. Okay, I actually do agree with him focusing more on dragon this game then. But it's just awkward as a Nocturne if you're not farming. Or if you're not ganking. Holy shit. I'm messing up my words today. Oh, I love early Herald. Remember guys, early Herald gives you 100 gold from getting the Herald. You get 2 plating. That's about 160, 320 gold, or sometimes even 480 gold. And you get first turret, 50 local gold, 250 global gold. Or 250 global gold and about 150. It's just a lot of gold. I think that was about like a 1k gold swing there. We can go back and check. It's actually a super big play. And it looks like nothing, right? It looks like, oh, they just used Herald. Why are you making such a big deal, Loco? But let's see what happens. They get Herald. The gold differential, they are 100 Thieves have 19.6k gold. Watch the gold go up. 19.6, already up 1k. So that was a 2k gold swing for them. That Herald play was a 2k gold swing. That's a 2k gold swing just by using Herald, getting all the plating and getting first turret. Like, a 2k gold play is like, if you kill 3 people and get a turret. That's the equivalent of killing 3 people and getting a turret. That Herald play. It's fucking crazy good. Loco, Meteos said in an interview they need Mountain, so 100 Thieves couldn't get it for early Baron. That's... no, that's... They can't prioritize Mountain just so 100 Thieves can't get it for early Baron. That's not the right way to think about the game or even make it possible. Because, like, earlier on in the game, right, like 10 minutes into the game, they can't be like, oh, we can't give them Mountain Drake because they're going to use it for Baron. And you try to over prioritize Mountain Drake if you don't have priority in mid or if you don't have priority in bottom, then you're just going to get collapsed on and killed. That's such a ridiculous way to think about things. Also, somehow, Someday went into their base, killed Meteos, walked out, and killed Crown with Huhi. Jesus. 100 Thieves actually insanely ahead this early game. What the fuck? 5-0, 5k gold up. 5-0 with 5k gold up. That's fucking game winning. They just have to be forcing team fights now. I know 100 Thieves loses this game, and I'm super curious how now. How the fuck do you lose a game where you're up 5k and you have a really good team fighting comp with very clear ways of engaging? Okay, Someday getting caught out here. That's a bad way to start things. Bang dying there. Ugh, that was bad. How did that even happen? Okay. Trying to watch. So Someday's getting caught out here, and who he's teleporting. And the rest of the team is a bit far away. Who he eat forward. Bang got caught. Ugh, man. That's such an awkward spot. You guys were... I'm not sure how that fight started, but that fight started with 2 of 100 Thieves members being in base, Olaf and Braum. Just a really bad position for them to be in. When you have this much of a lead, it's so important to play on tempo and play together. Okay, so Someday's walking in here. He walks into Crown, but Kench coming in with arrow, and then yeah, they get killed. You know, they didn't respect Kench being able to ult. Ay. Will I have Prolly on Listen Loco? For sure in the future. Yeah, they're still up 5k gold. Next one is Inferno. Super important they get this. While Optic's comp is well suited for 1-3-1, it can definitely teamfight if it needs to. So it's very important for 100 Thieves to make sure they don't get to catch back up on gold. They deny them Inferno Drakes. Next Drake Inferno, it's a long way off. Right now, what I would really like to see is 100 Thieves try to control around Baron much as possible. As for Optic, they need to find a way to shut down Someday and make sure he can't just split push forward all the time. But he's up about 2,400 gold on Dokla, so I'm not even sure if Dokla plus Meteos can kill Someday. If Dokla plus Meteos can't kill Someday, then Optic's in a really fucking shitty spot, because Someday will always have priority in his side lane. I've asked Reaper to come on listen Loco, but he's like, I'm busy. And then I'm like, okay. But he's like, do you want to grab dinner? I'm like, okay. I think I'll have him on eventually, but he likes to spend his free time, especially on Monday. He's like to spend this time like actually off. Okay, I see where Optic is actually able to build priority though. It's a lot from being able to control through the rights. Oh my god, Meteos there. He was tanking Baron and he also didn't spell shield the Israel, so he was in a really bad spot. Damn, if they get this Baron, honestly, game should be over. Okay, I have little bit problems about that team fight, about how 100 Thieves played it, but let's watch the follow-up. Oh no, this is that play. No, they chase and then Meteos comes in. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They lost Baron on 4 people. Holy shit, this was actually game losing, but let's talk about this play in general. So they killed Meteos, right? So right now, how 100 Thieves wants to position around Baron and how they want to do things is called playing to finish. What they want to do is they want to put all their tanky members up here. Let me pause. I'll tell you guys why this is actually a little bit problematic. Yeah, he ulted him way too early. What they want to do is put all their tanky members and people that are going to be denying up here. So they want to put Liz here, and they also want to put Braum here. Afro needs to move to here. And they want to keep Bang and Someday and Urgot in here, or Bang Someday and onto here, and to play to finish off Baron. And what Afro and Huhi are going to do is just buy time so they can finish Baron and then take the 4v5 fight. But Huhi early ulted Aatrox. Afro ulted this a little bit later on after they got Baron. I wish they used it a little bit earlier. They're going on the Kench. They need to go on the Kench. Targeting here was also really bad. You see a lot of people go for the Rise, right? It's wrong. That's not how you take a team fight. Why it's really hard for you to go on the Rise is whenever you're playing versus a Kench, if you don't go for the Kench, then the Kench will just try to save whoever's going to be targeted. So it's super important that 100 Thieves focus the Kench here. And also Rise has his cleanse up, Rise has his flash up. So it's important they kill the Kench first, not the Rise. But instead, they're going for the Rise. Rise flashes, gets eaten by the Kench, then Kench flashes. They're not even able to finish the Aatrox. And then they're chasing with Nocturne coming up. They're able to kill the Kench. Oh, Bang didn't calculate Rise having Seraph, and then now Nocturne comes in and finishes. It looks like it was really dumb that they overchased. I think initially they played the Baron situation wrong, and then they're targeting afterwards to go for Rise instead of to go for Kench was also really bad. So a lot of combination of bad decision making throws away a free Baron and also an Inferno. 100 Thieves only have Baron on Huhi right now. They gave up the Inferno. This was game losing bad. Huhi backed it with a 4v4. If you target Rage quick, at least you force the Kench to eat him, and then the Rage won't be doing damage while you damage the Kench. Like, at that point, you already won the team fight. Like, they're already going to win the team fight there. They can't, like, they don't have to worry about damaging the Rage that much. They can have Braum shield him. They can just have Urgot on top of him. Also, if they're able to kill the Kench with the Urgot ult and get the fear off on the Ryze, that's also really dangerous for Ryze. I'm sure they can't ignore the Ryze completely, but their main target there and their main focus there should be, we need to kill the Tahm Kench. Hui had no mana there. Okay, I mean, if Hui has no mana, then they can back and they can come back later. But it's just so fucking important that they're actually killing the Kench there. Just the target selection there is incorrect. You can't not target the Kench in team fights. That's how you play versus the Kench. You target the Kench. So you'll notice, like, yeah, I mean, I was going to say this, but a lot of Tahm Kenches will end up buying QSS because they know they're going to get targeted and they know they need to be able to cleanse. And yeah, I mean, apparently Tahm Kench bought the QSS because he knows, like, hey, I'm going to be the one targeted and I really need to make sure I can cleanse out, like, I don't get insta-bursted, because that's what you're afraid of the most as a Kench. You're not afraid of your carries getting insta-bursted because you can save them at any moment. As a Tahm Kench, what you're most afraid of is, I'm going to get insta-bursted. I need to make sure I'm safe. Oh, this chase was actually so mediocre. Remember how we talked about how 100 Thieves win so hard off of the Urgot split push? A lot of that got negated with that Baron fight, and now the Ryze split push onto Lissandra is really strong. You can see, even though 100 Thieves has a better team fighting comp, and that's somewhat questionable now with how much Sivir got stronger, how much Nocturne got stronger. Yeah, the game state completely flipped, where 100 Thieves were very much in control of both side lane and the team fight. Now Optic can actually take control of both side lanes and the team fight. What you guys really want to watch out for this game is how far top lane and bot lane are pushing in. The more top lane and bot lane pushes in, the better it is for Optic, and they're going to be in control of the game. If 100 Thieves can keep this pushed up and then take team fights around Baron or mid or red side jungle, then that means 100 Thieves is in control of the game. But you can see how much it's getting pushed up top and how much priority Ryze is able to buy. That means Optic is actually winning the game and winning the macro so much. Oh damn, Crown did such a good job of waiting there, able to chunk out Huhi, Kench, and Sivir going behind them. And Bank started channeling his teleport because he thought he'd be able to help. But remember, now once you start channeling your teleport, you're absolutely screwed. Man, so do you think Aeros Last Whisper on Sivir is good, or should he build a different third item? I think this game, because they built so much armor, it's fine. There's like, what, 3 Ninja Tabbies, Iceborne Gauntlet, and a Zanyas. Yeah, every single champion on the enemy team has an armor item, so I think the Last Whisper is fine. Oh man, this was such a good play from Optic. There's something that Dardoch said that I think really defines Crown right now in North America. And this is not word for word quoting, but I'll tell you guys what Dardoch said. Dardoch said, playing with Crown is so weird and so good at the same time. He doesn't speak that much English, but he always knows where to be and he always does the right thing. So even though we can't communicate, it's really easy to play with him. And I think like plays like that top lane really show that. Like he can just be like, yo, or like he can just keep pinging, right? And then you just look top and it's just Crown getting so much pressure by himself and almost killing Huhi. And Big and Arrow just Kenchult in there. So he knows how to build a lead by himself. And the team can just play around that. It's like that with Crown and lane too. he wins the lane by himself, and he gets a lot of pressure and priority by himself too. Man, this game was just 100Ds made one mistake at Baron that was so game-breakingly bad, and the game flipped completely. Baron buff, Inferno, holy shit. They had the game in the bag. But that one mistake and that one bad call just flipped this. It's not, I mean, the chase definitely fucked them, but the chase fucked them, the target selection fucked them. How they did the Baron wasn't ideal, but it ended up being okay. Crown's probably one of the best laners in NA right now, but it kind of reminds me of Phoenix, where Phoenix's problem was he was actually one of the best laners, but he had no mid game and he had no macro, and he basically didn't have a brain. For Crown, I definitely do think Crown has a brain, but problem with Crown is even though he has a brain, even though he can get his own leads, he can't communicate. If Crown can communicate a little better, I actually think that would fix so much of their problems. Oh man, so Crown Rise ulted in, trying to get the fight, but they didn't want to get the fight, so it looked really fucking awkward. This is what I mean though. Ivar812, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub, where Crown is a really smart player and a really good player and can build his own lead. He can't communicate at all, so he's actually in a really awkward spot in terms of how much he can provide to the team. You can do the right things, you can build your own leads, but if you can't communicate properly, then the game and the entirety of it is going to look really awkward. Like stuff like that Rise thing. Oh man, somebody actually dunked him there. I don't think I can beat Dokla in the side lane, by the way. I don't think Dokla can beat Someday, so he can't be the one in the side lane. It has to be someone else. 100 second Baron attempt. Rise playing to end the game. Rise playing to end the game versus Asandra. All Optic has to do is buy time here, because Rise is playing to end the game. Oh, they actually got Baron. They killed Meteos. Woof! I thought Optic would actually be able to do a much better job of preventing the Baron, but I guess not. Without Rise and without Dokla not being there, that ended up being a really bad decision. I guess it... Now, what am I thinking? Like, 100 Thieves taking a 3v4 there is a throw. Okay, now 100 Thieves have another shot to be back in control, and if they can get an inhibitor off of this Baron, there's slight chance that 100 Thieves could win again. Pushing up mid, slowly pushing bot, being able to pressure 2 lanes, that's 100 Thieves win condition. They can't not push bot, because if they don't push bot, it gives a way for Optic to win the game. They're not really playing with the wave, and they're not really defending the wave, so this is bad. Oh man, I want to go back one tiny second, and I want to show you guys a problem that's occurring. We see this wave here, right? And then we see that wave here too. If we don't get this wave pushing, and if we don't defend this wave, what's going to happen is Rise is going to walk top, and he's going to push that wave, and it's going to reach here first before it reaches mid first. So it's super important that 100 Thieves stay on top of this wave and defend it and make sure it gets pushed in all the way. If they're not able to do that, then they're going to have to go deal with the Rise before they can get the mid push. And then now let's see what happens. On top of this wave, he's pushing it. It's actually bad that he's pushing it. He wants this to slow push, and he want to wait for Israel and Braum. And also Israel and Braum, I know Bang went for... Wait, he didn't even go for red. Why weren't they on mid wave then? Like, cause they're not going for the mid wave, Rise is able to split push top all the way. Like, sure, going for this Elder's okay, but if you guys did things properly... Oh my goodness. Man, that play was actually so bad. Why were Bang and Afro not at the wave? Okay, Bang and Afro backed. They backed. Afro didn't back. Afro just stayed in that brush the whole time. And then, what the fuck? Wait, Afro and Bang just wasted time instead of being on the wave. Man, this is one of the first things I teach players. Mid priority before anything. Mid priority before anything. Make sure you shove in mid all the way and get wards mid. They didn't shove in mid all the way. And now they're forced to go deal with the top wave. And they just end the game off this. Wow. Basic wave control lost 100 Thieves the game when they had Baron. Holy shit. I'm actually speechless. 100 Thieves have so much smart players. They have a smart coach, and I think the organization is good too. But they're fucking up on such small basics. Like wave control first. How to set up Baron. Jesus Christ. They're just prioritizing things really badly. I mean, congrats to Optic for winning this game, but this was 100 Thieves game to... This was 100 Thieves game to win.